Uganda is now an established petroleum province with an estimated in-place volume of petroleum resources of 6 billion barrels of oil, equivalent to 1.4 billion barrels recoverable, and over 500 billion cubic meters of gas to support commercial production of petroleum in the country. But the million-dollar question would be, how can one be a part of the booming oil and gas sector in Uganda, and who qualifies, and of course, what are the aspects of successful submissions? This evening, we speak to Pamela Alinda, the head of Contract and Procurement at TOTAL E&P Uganda, to take us through. I am Isabella Tugume, and welcome to this week's episode of Business Perspective. How can one enlist their business to provide goods and services for TOTAL E&P?
So the first thing you need to do is to ensure that your entity is registered on this database and the validity is maintained for the duration that you seek to work with us. Once that is done, we run pre-qualification rounds for different scopes of requirements, which we do advertise. So, of course, you need to have the minimum capacity and capabilities that we would list in such advertisements for you to be able to work with us.
How does one find out about the opportunities available to provide these goods and services?
Part of the regulatory requirements is to ensure that we advertise our scopes of requirements above certain thresholds as stipulated in these regulations. So the first thing is to be abreast with current news. We do advertise in nationally circulating media, scopes of requirements tendered. And it goes without saying also, we have an open door policy for our suppliers and vendors. So if you do require information relating to our activities, we are open to that as the supply chain and even our communications team. So don't hesitate to drop by if you need, or to drop us an email.
And for one to have a successful submission, some checks need to be put in place.
The requirements may seem onerous if you do not read, because you will find yourself falling short of any qualifications. So I would say supported to that is the timeliness of submissions cannot be overstated. We're looking to optimize cost, so do look out for that and provide the best offer that does capture not only the technical requirements, but also national content targets that are very key to our organization. And of course, without saying, making sure that you maintain compliance, both in terms of health and safety, ensuring that your policies are up to date for anti-corruption, and making sure above all that you support the objectives that we clearly state in our bid proposals.
There are quite a number of pitfalls that local businesses intending to work with Total may find, but they can also be mitigated in advance, and this is how.
The first one is to ensure that as a company you maintain your financial health, and it is demonstrable in your audited financial reports. That said, we also are cognizant of the fact that the supply chain is extended to support timely performance of services. As a main contractor, it's your responsibility to ensure that your subcontractors are aligned with your own objectives. The third element I would highlight, which is very key to Total, is that we are looking to promote social and economic values and objectives that we set in our tenders, such as ensuring that the communities we work in are positively impacted by our activities. One of the pitfalls that is quite common is suppliers to overlook this and just concentrate on a few technical aspects of the work. It's very key that if you have set any commitments relating to national content achievement, this is followed up during the performance of your contract, because it is considered one of the key elements of breach of contract.
These are some of the key requirements that service providers should have.
One, we are looking for suppliers that are able to respect human rights in their workspaces. we definitely have zero tolerance for child labor. Elements like not having proper pay of workers, lack of safety for your workers, that's simply unacceptable. We're also looking for suppliers that are very aware and passionate about the protection of the environment. The third I would look at is we're also looking for suppliers that are driven for a zero tolerance to corruption, conflict of interest and fraud. If you could look into that and many others that we stipulate in our documentation, I think we would be very excited to work with you.
That's all the time we had for you this week on Business Perspective. Remember, we do stream live on air and online. The hashtag is NBS Business. We continue with more content with regards to the 90 days of oil and mining. Here from us and the entire crew on Business Perspective. I am Isabella Tugume. Good night and God bless.